Oh, yeah. Yes! Man, I am really, really pumped up today. Really, really, really pumped up, man. This is going to be a great show. Great show. Great show. Anybody joining in? I don't see anybody yet. All right. All right. All right, man. I have got a great show lined up. I want to make sure that everything's working right on my end. Let me double check here on the YouTube side because I've had this issue before where it actually doesn't work out. Doesn't work out. So I want to make sure it does. I'm going to log in here and okay, yeah. All right, yeah. Looks like it. Man, I'm jacked up, man. I am very jacked up. This is going to be a great show. And this is going to be a great show. Here is the breakdown. We're going to talk Le'Veon Bell in Kansas City. If you follow my previous show, I said he wasn't coming here. I said that. Hold on here. I'm going to adjust the camera just a tinge and the other. Okay, there we go. I said he wasn't coming to Kansas City. No, I'm still off. There. All right, so I said he wasn't coming to Kansas City. I said, no, he's not coming to Kansas City. And then what happens? He ends up in Kansas City. So I look like a complete schmuck. I understand. Hey, look, it happens. Sometimes people make mistakes, but the difference between me and a lot of other channels is that I own up to my mistakes. When I make a mistake, I say I make a mistake, and that's that. That is that. So, and hey, by the way, if you don't mind, anybody who's watching the show, can you drop a comment? It looks like everything's working, but I've had this issue before in the past. So if I want to make sure that everybody's seeing everything, comments are working, because I've had issues with this in the past where I did a show and then people were like, hey, you aren't on. I went to YouTube though, and it looks like I am good. I'm going to double check. Okay. So yeah, everything's good on YouTube side. All right. You know what? It's okay. You do not have to comment. You don't have to comment. I can literally sit here, turn on a camera at any point in time in my life and talk for about 3 hours straight on football. I can literally do this. I can spend a minimum of 10 minutes on every single NFL team. So that's 32 teams, 10 minutes per team, 320 minutes. That's about 5.5 hours. So I know for a fact I can go for 3 hours. I've got a great show. We're going to talk about Le'Veon Bell, how he's going to affect this game, or how he's going to affect Sunday's game, or actually Monday, my mistake, how the Chiefs are going to use them. It's not how you think they're going to use them. Not how you think. Then I'm going to break down every single game, and I have a surprise because I actually put action down just a few minutes ago. You're going to see the bet. I'm going to break down why I like this bet, why it's going to collect, and there's a chance of a second bet coming up later on, but I'm going to make that video Saturday. So I am, for the very first time ever, I'm not going to drink coffee during the show. I'm not going to drink coffee for the show because last time I went on for about, I'm going to say about hour and 15, hour and 30. My throat started getting kind of raw. I've heard other YouTube commenters saying that, coffee kind of affects it. So I should have some water, but I kind of want to be jacked up. So Courtney or Braden, if you are watching, I'm drinking one of Courtney's Dr. Peppers today, which I normally don't drink soda. But I am going to today. All right. So Le'Veon Bell coming to Kansas City. All right. Here's how it's going to here's what's going to happen. Sammy Watkins is out. Now, somebody's going to say that Sammy Watkins is a wide receiver and Le'Veon Bell's a running back. This is how it's going to work. He's going to be used to replace Watkins, and he's going to be used as a receiver. I know Le'Veon Bell, the 230-pound running back, the guy who really had some great games against Kansas City as a Steeler. The Chiefs are actually going to use him as a wide receiver. Yes, a wide receiver. And Sam, welcome to the show. Wow, the carbonation kind of messed me up there. Sam, welcome to the show. If you're new, there's a little button right around here. If you see it, bam! Hit that button. Become one of the greatest people on planet Earth. Be one of the subscribers to the Dan Show, the best YouTube show on football, because not only do I talk the talk, I walk the walk. But Le'Veon Bell is going to be used as a receiver. He's going to be used as a receiver, not as a runner. Is he going to get some touches in the backfield this week? I think so, but I think he's really going to be brought in against Buffalo to be more of a receiver. When Watkins comes back, then he's going to take some carries away from Carlos Edwards-Helaire, CEH, and that's how it's going to work out. All right. So that's how I see it. I am going to start breaking down every single game plus the game that I put down action on. So, hey, you know what? It's time. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to share my screen. All right. And don't need the banner. All right. The very first game is Chicago at Carolina. The over-under is 44.5. I was really hoping that more action would go on Carolina. It didn't work out that way. So it's Chicago in 1 point. That's kind of what I'm looking at. And I was really hoping I might be able to get Chicago in 3 points. I'm not going to touch this game, but that's kind of what I'm looking at. I'm a little surprised it stayed this way. This is going to be a fun game. The winner is going to be in really good shape in the NFC, but I'm going to tell you right now, I don't believe in either one of these teams. I especially don't believe in Carolina, but this will be a fun game, an interesting game. Next game is Detroit at Jacksonville. The over-under is 54.5. Jacksonville, a lot of places were having Jacksonville 3.5. My bookie, which I have a link for below, is at 3. And I really think that this could be a fun shootout. I haven't had a chance to check the weather report in Jacksonville, but if it's clear skies, good weather, there's a very good chance that I'm going to take the over. Bottom line, I don't think either defense is capable of stopping either offense. So this could be a very, very fun game. This could be a crazy high score. This could be potentially in the 70s. I did say 70. This could be a very, very, very fun game. One I'm really actually looking forward to. Normally when you see two bad teams, you don't want to watch it. I disagree. I really do want to see this game because I think this one could be a ton of fun. Next is Atlanta at Minnesota. The over-under is 54.5. And the lines finally went up to 4. I was leaning towards taking Atlanta because usually when a team gets a new head coach and the old head coach is fired, the team usually plays a little rejuvenated. The issue is that even though I know the home field advantage still isn't there, Minnesota being home team's tough to overlook. The defense played better against Seattle. I'm not sure if the defense is there yet. If the defense is continuing to get better, then watch out. But I don't know if they're there yet. I know Minnesota's going to put up some points, but what Atlanta did, which really surprised me, is they went ahead and promoted Raheem Morris. He was Tampa Bay's former coach. I want to say I think it was before Gruden, and he's the defensive coordinator. Atlanta's defense has been terrible. So I'm not sure how that's going to work. More than likely, I'd like Atlanta in this game. but I'm not going to bet on it, partly because of my man crush on Mike Zimmer. All right, next game. I got Houston at Tennessee. The over-under is 53.5. Tennessee is now a 3.5-point favorite. I actually, I didn't have time to, the money line is 165. I kind of like the money line, which means I like Houston to win outright, but more than likely, the better bet on this game might be the over of 53.5. I know that Tennessee held Buffalo to 17, but I like Josh Allen. The potential's all there, but who's a better quarterback, Watson or Allen? The answer is Watson by a very large margin. I know I know that Tennessee has a good defense, but they haven't played great all year. And Houston's defense, while it did get better, I'm not really buying either one of these defenses being really, really good. So, Alex, what's up, brother, man? Man, I was really hoping that you would chime in because I agree with you. And that's why I was looking at the money line, because the money line's plus 165. There is a very good chance that I'm going to go ahead and take Houston. I do agree with you. I think Houston's going to win this game. I really do. I think Houston's going to win this game. That's why I like the money line. However, if I do put action on this game, I'm going to take the 3.5. I really like Houston in this game. More than likely, this will be I might do like a small parlay with Houston and my number one team, which I haven't revealed yet. Next game. Washington at the Giants. Over-under is 43. The Giants are now a 3-point favorite at home, even though they're unbeaten. I'm sorry, not unbeaten, but even though they're winless. My mistake. I think Kyle Allen is going to start. I am really going to avoid this game. I'm going to kind of just sit this one out. And by the way, Alex, yeah, man, I have been a Chiefs season ticket holder since '89, and I basically promised you that this would not happen. And what happens? Not only does it end up happening, he's going to contribute against Buffalo. Okay, since you tuned in, I'm going to chime in and tell you what I think. Sammy Watkins is injured. And the Chiefs' offense is a lot different with Watkins. So what you're going to see against Buffalo on Monday night, you're going to see Bell used more as a wide receiver. You're going to see him maybe in the backfield. I think you're going to see him split out wide. I think what you're going to see is about 10 touches, 5 carries, 5 receptions. Because what they're going to do is while Watkins is out, Bell's actually going to take over as more of a receiver. He's going to be more of a receiver. They're going to get him in the open field. They're going to try to use his ability. I think he'll be used less as a running back until Watkins comes back. When Watkins comes back, then he will go ahead and be used more as a runner. But for this week against Buffalo, and I think next week Watkins will also be out, you'll see him used more as a receiver. It'll be a big surprise. Washington does have a better defense. Their offense, I don't know about much better because I'm not sold on Kyle Allen. I'm really not sold on Kyle Allen. So this is one of those games I'm not completely on board with. It's one of those games I kind of want to watch. The Giants are going to win a game sometime this year. I just don't know if it's this week. If they are going to win a game, this would be the one to win. I said it even before Ron Rivera got cancer. I think that this is not a good position for him to be in. I think the Redskins job, I don't think he should have took it. I don't think it's a good fit. I think I would have went with an offensive guy who can help build Haskins. I think now you have to move. Washington's a complete shit show right now. I think the Giants are actually doing the right thing. It's just the offensive line's bad. I think that next year, if they can keep all the same pieces in play, they could be better. But I can't really disagree with you, but it's not one, definitely not one I'm betting. I'm not putting action on this with a 10-foot pole. Next game is Cleveland at Pittsburgh. The over-under is 51.5. Pittsburgh is now a 3.5-point favorite. One of my subscribers was asking who to back up for Cleveland is. It's Case Keenum. And if Case Keenum is going to start, I might actually put action on Cleveland because I think Keenum just coming off the bench might actually be better. Keenum's a natural passer. Baker Mayfield has a lot more arm talent, but Case Keenum in a backup role for one game, I think could actually benefit Cleveland. The play that if you watched my show Wednesday, the play is I really think is the over. I checked the weather report. The weather report is the weather is going to be beautiful. I'm going to watch this because if Case Keenum ends up getting the start, I want to see if the over-under drops. If so, I'll probably put some action on the over. James asked, did I see the story about Patricia giving a game ball to Sheila Ford? Laugh out loud. No, I did not, and that's very smart for Patricia to do so. Because once Adam Gase is gone, I think he is the number one coach on the hot seat. It's really just a matter of time before Matt Patricia is gone. So it's a smart move on his part. I don't think the guy's a dumb guy. I just don't think he's cut out to be a NFL head coach. I think that he'll go back to the defensive ranks, and I think he'll do a good job. It may not be in New England. It may be somewhere else. It wouldn't surprise me, though, if in 2021 Matt Patricia is on the New England Patriots organization. It wouldn't surprise me at all. So smart move by Patricia. It buys him another week or two as head coach. But once Gase is fired, it's only a matter of time before Patricia gets the axe. So just be warned. But no, I didn't see that story, though, to answer your question. Very long-winded one. Baltimore at Philly. The over-under is 46.5. Okay. I don't understand why my bookie does this, but they listed this game twice. One is like my favorite thing, my favorite bets. I'm not overly familiar with it. There is a link below. Here I am pointing, even though I'm sharing my screen. But if you look at below, I do have a reference to my bookie. I don't endorse them. I would always recommend going to a casino, but if you do want to bet on football, you can use the MyBookie thing. Please use my referral code. And another thing is follow me on social media. I listed all my social media links below. It's I'm going to say 90% football, very little stuff about my personal life, but you could post whatever you want. But all my links are below. So do not forget to sign me up, or don't forget to add me on your social media links. Anyway, so this game is listed twice. One game's at 9.5. The other one is at 10. There are slightly different odds, but I actually do like Philly at home as a double-digit dog. I really do. Baltimore's offense against Cincinnati did not look that good. They scored, I think it was a defensive touchdown, and then the defense set up one or two of their scores. The score was 27-3. So you're looking at the defense almost setting up half the points. Philly has a better defense than Cincinnati. So, and Mike Buffa comments. Hey, Mike, if do not get mad, but I wanted to give you a special shout out. Congratulations on 23. That is awesome. The one thing I'm going to warn you guys is that this one is not being rebroadcasted. I am not rebroadcasting this one because I am going to do a video tomorrow with my picks. There could be multiple picks. So this show is not going to be rebroadcasted. Not going to be rebroadcasted. And I'm working on that, Mike. I'm trying to get a little more interesting stuff here. Congratulations on 23. And on a side note, I'm probably piggybacking you here very shortly on the action you have down. But I'm going to kind of watch this a little bit. I'll be honest, I kind of like Philly in 10. I really do. Next game is Cincinnati at Indianapolis. The over-under is 46.5. And Indianapolis, it was at 8. Now it's 7.5. I kind of like the under in this game. Cincinnati scored 3 points against a good, not great Ravens defense. I actually think the Colts defense may be better than the Ravens. The Cincinnati defense played pretty good against the Ravens. So I could actually see this being a low scoring game. I wouldn't recommend putting action on this game at all, but I have to admit, if you are going to play, you want to take the under in this one. You want to take the under in this one is the way I feel. Denver at I'm sorry. Wow. Denver at New England, over under is 44.5. This game was not available when I did my show Wednesday. New England is a 9.5 point favorite, and the under is 44.5. And no, hey, Alex, no, I don't trust the Bengals. But I would actually say Indy would cover. I just don't trust Rivers to cover. I like the under is, I think, the safe bet on this game. I mean, I don't really see one team really putting up a large amount of points here in this game. This game was completely off the books. It looks like it's going to be Cam against Drew Lock. I sort of kind of like the under because I know with Cam Newton, they're going to run the ball, play a low-scoring game. How does Drew Lock look coming back? I think he's going to be very confused against a New England defense, which specializes in torturing young quarterbacks. Plus, I also really like the way their defense played against Kansas City. So the under's safe, but the one thing I would worry about is that when you have a line that's this small, is that you could have a fluke touchdown, you could have a special teams touchdown, you could have a defensive score that just blows this up. I could also see New England putting up some points on a depleted Denver defense. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. If I had to put action on the game, I would put New England. I'm not gonna bet on an NFL 9.5 line. No, Alex, I know who's winning this. I think New England's going to win. I just don't know if I'm going to bet 9.5. So that's kind of my dilemma. I actually like the under. I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I think it's going to be a fun game. I think they want to bring Cam Newton back, and I think they want to bring him back and kind of be cautious with him. So that's kind of what I see. Next game, Jets at Miami. The over-under is 47. Miami was a 10-point favorite. It's not 9.5. Flacco's going to be quarterback. I would probably take the under on this one. I'm kind of going to ignore this one, but I'm kind of interested how Miami handles this, because this is a team. This is a chance that Miami has to just blow this team out. Do they take it? Do they look better? Do not be surprised if very late in the game we see Tua take a snap or two. This could be your first game that you see Tua. So just give you a friendly warning here. This could also be, ironically, because Adam Gase was the head coach for Miami before he went to the Jets. On a side note, the reason why Miami got rid of Gase is because Gase wanted to stick with Tannehill. Gase really loved Tannehill. He wanted Tannehill, and the Dolphins wanted to move in a different direction. That's why they fired him, and then they decided just to blow up their team. But Gase was really high on Tannehill. Doesn't look like it's that idiotic of the situation, but this could be Adam Gase's final game, and it would be ironic. It's against his former team, Miami. If Miami wins big, don't be surprised if Gase is fired after this game. Alex puts in Miami crushing the Jets. The Jets have nothing at this point. Last year's Bengals. Yeah, I actually think the Bengals had more talent. I thought Joe Mixon was really talented. John Ross, who's done nothing, unfortunately, has a world of ability, just has not been able to put everything together for whatever reason. What's his name? Boyd. I'm drawing a blank here, but he's been a really good receiver. There's talent on the Bengals. I don't see talent on the Jets at all. Somebody put in a comment, Eric Bieniemy, the Chiefs offensive coordinator, is going to go to the Jets. And why would he? I would not. This is, of all the teams that are going to be available, I think the Jets would be the last one that I would want. And the only reason I would take the Jets job is if I was head over heels in love with Sam Darnold and knew for a fact that I could turn him into a franchise quarterback and I could do it overnight. And I don't think anybody really wants to do that. I don't think anybody wants to do that. So I think of all the jobs here, I think the Jets would be the least my number one turn down. And it's going to be available probably, if this ends up being a blowout, it will be available after this week. This is a game I was really hoping would go in the opposite direction. Green Bay at Tampa Bay, the over-under is 55.5. It was at 2.5. Now it's dropped all the way to 1. Action is on the 1. James says, Action's Tampa Bay is now 1. I actually like the under on this game. I'm kind of hoping it keeps going up. Do I see a low-scoring game? No, I don't. But 55.5 is a big number. I mean, keep in mind, 28-24, which is a very realistic score in this game. You're still getting action on that. I kind of want to see go up a little bit. I really think Tampa Bay is going to win this game. I would have taken Tampa Bay in 3, but the action's gone in the opposite direction. So it's basically a pick 'em at this point. This is easily a very, very, no, maybe not easily, but this is a fun game. This is a good game. This is one that I really want. Alex will chime in, says, I think the Texans are one of the most attractive place for coaches due to Watson. If they want draft picks, they go to Detroit. If they want some talent, no, I completely agree. Here's the thing with Houston. Did you see Detroit has a better pass rush rate than Jacksonville? Yes. I didn't see that, James, but I knew that because Josh Allen is out. That's another thing is that the line was at 3.5. Now it's 3. I liked over in this game because I really love the over, but if I had to pick a team, I would take Detroit. I think Detroit's going to win that game. But bottom line, I think it's going to be a fun game. It's a rare game with 2 bad teams that I kind of want to see. I really want to see this game. Alex, let's get back to this point. The Texans are okay. You have the Texans. Excuse me, I'm sorry. You have the Texans. You have the Falcons. Let's throw Detroit in there. I think it's just a matter of time before Detroit gets rid of Patricia. And let's say the Jets. Let's say out of those 4. The Texans are easily number 1. The Texans are easily number 1 because you have a good defense. You have a superstar quarterback. And you have offensive talent plus the makings of a very good line. There's a lot to like about the Houston Texans. There is a ton to like about the Houston Texans. Yeah, hey Funk, we're going to talk about that a little more here. I'm glad to see you, brother. Detroit, I think with Detroit and Atlanta and the Jets, you got to blow those 3 teams up. The Texans are the only team you don't blow up. The Texans are the only team that you're like, okay, let's manage the salary cap. We'll worry about getting picks in 2021 because you don't have any picks. You're going to pick in the 3rd round. There's a chance you get a good player in the 3rd round, but more than likely, I would actually, to be perfectly honest, I wouldn't mind if you traded a 3rd round pick if you got a good player, especially on that offensive line because you spend all that money on Watson. The key really with the Houston Texans is going to be the GM, not the head coach. I think really you could hire a dozen different guys and have success as a head coach in Houston. You got to have a GM come in there who's going to fix both the salary cap and the draft pick situation, because you're not going to have any draft picks this year. But in 2021, you're going to need a lot of draft picks because you're going to have to replace some players. And Funk, yes. Just in case you missed it, I think that the Chiefs, if you didn't know, Sammy Watkins is out for a couple of weeks, which is very surprising because he's basically an Iron Man, which, you know, I would do that in sarcastic font if I could. But bottom line, so what's going to happen against Buffalo? He's actually going to replace Watkins. He's going to be used more as a wide receiver, not as a running back until Watkins comes back. When Watkins comes back, he's going to get more carries. I would say expect 10 touches against Buffalo, five on the ground, 5 through the air. He's going to be used in this game against Buffalo a lot as a wide receiver. In a couple of weeks when they play against the Jets, don't be surprised if he gets about 20, 25 touches. Keep an eye on them Lions. Patricia said he looked down at everything and has dumbed his scheme down. He says he has had his guys thinking too much. Could be. No, Funk, yes, 100%. You nailed it, and that's exactly what he needed to do. Unfortunately, I think he's too late. Let's go back. Because I think 3 is a good number to bet on with the Lions. I heard, yeah, man. I did something new, man. I did something new. And then James also points out the longer the Lions wait to re-sign Galladay, the more I think they could be trading him. Just like what Atlanta did with firing the GM, I think Quinn is going to lose some authority. So I think Galladay's safe until you get a new GM, because I do think you're blowing this team up. Yes, they needed to dumb things down, but they needed to dumb things down last year. And I think now it may be a little too late. And by the way, why weren't you dumbing things down during the off season? Why? I mean, here you are, and you're on Zoom meetings, and you're trying to run this very complicated offense through Zoom. Why did you wait till now? You really should have done this right away. This is again things that he's too late. When you're doing things like this statement to me, Funk, reads, I'm about ready to get fired. I'm going to throw a Hail Mary. Because bottom line, Patricia is one. I really think Patricia is one bad loss away from getting fired. So, and then Funk's going to say, I can see him in the wing. I think, Casey, you're 100% correct, Funk. This is exactly how the Chiefs are going to use Le'Veon Bell. He's going to be used more as a receiver. He's actually coming in Buffalo to replace Sammy Watkins. He's not going to get that much on the ground. I think he's only going to get about 5 carries. It'll be interesting to see how much he plays week 1. I think he'll be used as more of a receiver week 1. So he can't. That is probably Denver Gator, man. That's actually really damn good, man. Oh, man. All right. Let's break down the reason why I am not going to publish this video. This is why you guys are hearing this. I was waiting all week. I've had this all week. San Francisco plus 3.5. I hate the hook. I've been waiting all day. I've been waiting. Actually, I say all week. Just before I went on, less than an hour ago, I put $100 because I finally got the Rams in 3. I finally got the Rams in 3. You guys are seeing it live. You guys are seeing it. You guys get it. Here's the drill. I'm going to make a video. I'm going to release it tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to be afternoon, night. I'll have to see. I have some things I got to do tomorrow. I unfortunately have to work tomorrow, but this is going to be my video. This is going to be my video. I'm really tempted to take a parlay on this as well. I may take Houston. I'm going to hold off because I really want to see if I can get 4. If it goes back down to 3, I'm going to ignore it. And nothing. I do think Houston wins this game. I really do. I've been hearing more and more good things. I also might take over. I might actually have a threesome. All right. We may have a threesome with Houston, Pittsburgh, and the Rams. So yes, there is a possibility of a threesome. But this is exactly why I'm going to not you can't listen to rebroadcast of this one. This one's going to be a no-go. This one's going to be private. So you guys are hearing it right now. This is my number one game. The Rams have looked really good. And I've been telling people, you know what? I'm going to get a little animated here. I've been telling people, I have been saying this. By the way, few before I go on my rant, social media is below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. You can subscribe. And by the way, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Scientifically proven to make all your wildest dreams come true. Follow me on social media. I'm going to have some interesting stuff here. Despite what Mike says, I am going to have some interesting stuff coming up in the next couple weeks. This is my number one game. I have been dead set, and I have been nailing San Francisco. I've been trying to tell 49ers fans. 49ers fans hate me because I've been telling them the truth. This is not a good team. This is a banged up team. This is a team that needed to address the defense. They didn't. Instead, they got rid of their second best player in Buckner. Their number one player is Eric Armstead. Without Armstead and Buckner, that defense is not that good. Chief fans know Dee Ford wasn't staying healthy. Now Bosa's banged up. This is not a good football team. And I've been trying to tell Niners fans that the Rams look good. Here, what I said about the Rams in the beginning was that you have an 8.5 win team. I don't trust them to win 9, but they're too talented to win 8. They look good. Don't they look good? Number one game, I got 100 on it. You're not taking a no. I know I am not. And yes, James gets the reference. I think I told you guys that. Yes. So I've been dying for somebody to get the reference. Yes, I stole it. So yes. All right. James, I read an article in Sports Illustrated back around the draft where he said Kenny said he didn't want to talk about his contract till the end of the year. He said he wants to stay here. Funk, I think a lot of it has to do with whether Stafford's there. I don't think if I'm Galladay, I don't want to work with a rookie, but I would love to work with Stafford, and I think that's what he's really looking for. I think if you blow the team up, I don't think he wants to hang out for a year or two with a rookie quarterback in a bad situation with team rebuilding. I think then he would want to go somewhere else, and what were the the team that I think that he would be perfect for, even though they added a bunch of receivers, would be the Raiders. Gruden loves veteran receivers, and I think he would fit into Vegas really, really well. Yeah. That would be that I nailed the Lions. I've been perfect on San Francisco since the Super Bowl. Niners fans hate me. I get it. I went on a Niners show. They blocked me. And I was only telling the truth. I wasn't trash talking. I was just telling them the truth. These guys were so delusional. I got to share this. One guy, and he was dead serious. He goes, who's really calling the plays? Is Mike Shanahan. Mike Shanahan's in the press box calling the plays. And of all that coaching experience, they got way better coaches than the Chiefs. So this guy really thought that a guy who's been retired for over 20 years, who's like 70, I think, enjoying retirement, he's actually the one who's orchestrating that. This is not an exaggeration. There was a YouTube show that was that delusional. But yes, I'll be okay with the Raiders. Now, if Galladay were to leave, the Raiders would be the perfect spot. they would be the perfect spot, and it would be. I think it's a good fit. Nelson Aguilar is kind of having a rebirth. I think Brian Edwards is going to be. He's banged up, and he's going to be. I think going to be the best out of those three. Now, keep in mind they traded. I forgot his name, the former Kentucky quarterback. They traded him to Miami, but I think you're going to have Ruggs, who's going to make those splash plays. Had a great game against Kansas City, but Brian Edwards is going to be the better receiver. Nelson Aguilar is a guy who's even though he's a former first-round pick, a guy I really liked out of USC, his ceiling's a 2, and it's not even like high 2. You're not looking at like Calvin Ridley in Atlanta 2. You're looking at an okay 2. But Galladay on the Raiders, yeah, that would be if it looks like Stafford's not going to come back, then I think the Raiders would be the team to go. Yeah. Next game I got is my Kansas City Chiefs are traveling to Buffalo for the very weird. By the way, if you haven't heard, it's Central Time 4, and I've had some questions. Why are they playing at 4? Because they want to. They tried last Monday to have like the first half, and then they were going to have the second half. Basically, at the end of at the first Monday night game, by the time the second half starts, the first half would start, and they were tried it like that. It wasn't that successful. So what they want to do is have one game early and then one game late, but due to TV constrictions. So yeah, it's a weird time. I think this benefits the Chiefs personally, but I have no idea. The truth be told, the line has gone up a little bit, action towards Kansas City, and that's through the Le'Veon Bell trade. The over-under has actually dipped a little bit. I'm tempted to take the under in this game because there are some Bills players on defense that are coming back, but ultimately I think that this has all the makings of a shootout. 4.5's a big number. I probably will pass on that. But there's some interesting side bets and prop bets that I was tempted to take. There's some issues at my bookie that I wasn't able to use. So, yeah. But this is going to be an interesting game. This is going to be a very interesting game. I can't wait to see it. The problem is that I'm going to miss like a little bit of it because I'm at work. I will DVR it. I'm going to like shut off all my social media. And like as soon as I get off of work, I'm going to sprint out and, get ready for the game. So it's going to be a good game. I think the best bet would be take Kansas City. I've not been buying into Buffalo all year. I haven't bought in Buffalo all year. James writes in Stafford probably would have loved to replace Dak. I kind of think that could happen. That would probably because Mike McCarthy is, I think, really liking the idea of working with a good quarterback that he can work with, and I think Stafford would be kind of like a dream. So I would love it. I would love it, and then I'd like to see Dak go somewhere where he could be successful, and then I can see Detroit going with the rookie quarterback. Denver Gator says, I'm high on the Bills this year. I feel bad playing the Chiefs loss. What this means is that the next week is the Chiefs will play Denver, and the Chiefs are going to be favored by a lot of points. It'll be kind of interesting. I'm going to keep an eye out on how Denver looks against Kansas City or how Denver looks against New England. And then that'll kind of lead towards how I attack that Denver game. I think on a low-scoring game against Denver and then a low-scoring game here, there's a good chance I may, depending on what the line is, because if I get like 51, there's a good chance I jump on the over. Because I think there's a good chance that game next week, Chiefs and Broncos game, could be a very high-scoring game. Denver, of course, cannot compete in the shootout despite of how good Broncos fans think Locke is. I'm sorry. He can't. They're not ready. Next year, we might be talking about something different. But this year they can't compete in the shootout, and I think that's going to be a fun game. So hopefully you'll join the show Wednesday and Friday, and we'll talk some Chiefs Broncos, man. Scott, what is up, brother, man? What is up? Matt, glad you are able to make it. By the way, everybody, don't forget, give me a thumbs up. A lot of my friends here are already following me on social media. I put all the links in the description. Follow me on social media. I will admit I'm a little Instagram impaired. It's my social media I'm going to kind of work on, but I got some other things in the mix right now, so I'm not able to do as much on Instagram, but I am trying to become a little better on Instagram. Final game. Arizona at Dallas, over under 55.5. Dallas is a 1-point favorite. The line opened up at 2.5. I thought it was going to go up. Instead, action's heavy on Dallas. I was kind of hoping it would go in the opposite direction. I actually think Dallas wins this game. I'm not sold on Arizona. I said that for a while, but that's just kind of how I feel. That's just kind of how I feel. So, yeah. In case you missed it, some of you got on late, and that's okay. Hey, listen, that's okay. Everybody's got life. So I understand completely. But bottom line, this video is not going to be rebroadcasted. This is it. You get to hear it, and the reason why is I put 100 on the Rams -3. I've been waiting all week for the Rams to drop the 3. It was at 3.5. I thought it was going to jump up to 4. I almost hit 3.5, but I said, no, I'm going to wait because I looked. Vegas Insider, you can go to www.vegasinsider. It gives you the odds, all the Vegas casinos. All of them have the Rams in 3. But my bookie was at 3.5. It just dropped the 3 about 30 to 40 minutes before the show. So I jumped on it. I put my 100 down. So, yeah. Dallas will tally behind the red. I think so, dude. I really do. This, if you can put a prop bet on Andy Dalton's passing yards, which I haven't had a chance to look, but if I can do a prop bet on Andy Dalton's passing yards, Chandler Jones is out. Don't forget, Chandler Jones is out. I think he's out. He's out for the season. So I like the over on this game. I also like Dallas to win. We'll have to see what happens. Denver Gator, yeah. I've been waiting all week for 3. That's why I'm not going to rebroadcast this video. I'm going to make a short video. I'm going to take the Rams, and there's a very good chance I'm going to do like a little 2-way. Very small possibility of a threesome video coming out. So that is correct. I might have a threesome video coming out very shortly. But anyway, I'm going to have a video coming out tomorrow. Rams -3. That's the pick. That's going to be the play. We'll have to see if I put action on another game. I'm going to do some research. I'll have the video out Saturday. The video, so basically tomorrow, try to do it in the afternoon. It may be tomorrow night, but definitely I will have that out. I will definitely have that out before Sunday. No questions asked. So if it comes out late Saturday, that's going to be okay because then you'll be able to put action down on it Sunday. But this episode of the Dan Show is not going to be rebroadcasted. I'm going to keep it private. I'm going to make a video, and it's going to be we're going to do just Rams -3. James says, don't forget retro. I got to do a retro night, man. I got to do it. Because every time you throw out some stuff, and I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to post it. Mike is posting a threesome, my mom and my sister. That is correct, Mike. That is correct, Mike. But it's a threesome of games. It's a 3-way parlay. So let's get your mind out of the gutter. Let's show some professionalism because that's what the Dan Show is all about, professionalism and football. That's why I like my threesomes. So, but yes, Yes, retro night needs to happen. God, there's so many old school things that I'd want to talk about. I want to talk about the old school Chargers. Dan Fouts made me. Oh, I was a huge fan of Dan Fouts. How many quarterbacks do you know can drink a 6-pack and go out and put up 303 touchdowns? Dan Fouts good. Kellen Winslow, Wes Chandler, John Jefferson. Man, I know you have, man. I know you have. I have. By the way, I'm not a Falcons fan, but the '91 Falcons, how fun was that team? Dome Patrol. Yeah, it might. I think even the Greatest Show on Turf might be too soon. Rod Smith. Oh, he. It's actually funny. He went to school. I think at Southeast Missouri State, and yeah, local kid around here. And oh yeah, Rod Smith. For those of you who didn't, Rod Smith was a really good football player. Screwed the Chiefs a lot. Really good football player. Did everything right. His first NFL catch won the game. It was like a 60-yard touchdown with Darrell Green wrapped all over him. People forget how good Rod Smith was. If you never got a chance to watch him play, this guy was really good. I have a hard time really finding a good comp for him. The dude wasn't the biggest guy. Really good speed. Had some decent size. Really good player, man. Really good player. Retro talk all about. Hey man, we might have to do this, man. We might have to do this. I might have to get a retro show because I could talk NFL history all day. We can go back. I'm going to tell you this right now. We can argue about defense. We can argue receivers. We can argue quarterbacks. We can argue all sorts of stuff. The one thing that we cannot argue is the greatest running back of all time is Jim Brown. As for my money, he is the greatest football player the world's ever seen. I saw a Twitter list, top 25 running backs of all time. They had Jim Brown's 12. I instantly blocked the guy. Instantly blocked the guy. Yeah, Rod Smith, man. Yeah, 90. Oh God, that team was so much fun, man. I actually met Andre Rison at a strip club. Great story. Great story. I'm not going to share it, but yeah, he signed I was wearing a Rison jersey, and he wrote on there. The place was called Diamond Joe's. So he wrote Diamond Joe's. Man, hope you had fun. Cool as hell. I was expecting something really, really different, but a really, really great guy. Andre Rison, easily one of my favorite players. Loved him as a Falcon. He had a few really good years here at the Chiefs. Yeah, he went to the Hall. Fran Tarkenton. Oh man. No, I think no matter how high you talk about Fran Tarkenton, underrated. The NFL changed the NFL. There's no scrambling quarterback if it wasn't for Fran Tarkenton. Really? I did not know that. I would love to know what his opinion was of the game. I would love to know, because I mean you hear the Raiders still to this day don't believe it was a catch, but Super Bowl shuffle. James, you probably won't believe me, but I actually told him that when I met him. I was all nervous and excited, and I was like, man, I've been watching you play against Michigan State. There's a clip of, now Deion got the pick, but Deion and Andre went against each other in college. Andre Rison was such a good player, man. It actually makes me sad that he's not a Hall of Famer. It makes me sad, and I don't know if he'll get in or not. But when I met him, there was one of those. It was better than expected type of meetings. Normally, if you meet a professional athlete, you get canned response. This was not the case. Andre Rison always will be one of my favorite players. That's why I always have a crush. Remember the 91? That was when they went to all black. I wish teams would stop doing that. It should be illegal to go all black. I'm just going to rant now. Fran was the original scrambler. Yeah. Fran had to. That was the thing. He had no choice. He was on some bad teams. He had no choice. It's more amazing that it was more amazing that he survived. I think he played for 18 years, and it was more surprising that he survived 18 seasons with the way he played. And teams literally tried to hurt him. When I say hurt him, like they wanted him not out of the game. They wanted him out of the league. Defensive linemen hated this guy. They took cheap shots on him all the time. Extremely tough, very good passer, but everybody says the same thing, scrambler. As far as quarterbacks go, extremely underrated. Lisa Left Eye. Oh, yeah. I remember that, man. Yeah, she died. The story about what happened was she used to do this all the time. He would go out, she would get pissed, she would burn his shoes, right? So she always did it in the bathtub. Well, he replaced the bathtub, and instead of it being, normally bathtubs are tile, ceramic, something not non-flammable, but this one, it was like plastic on it, which this was like a normal thing between them, which makes it even weirder. So she did the same thing she normally does. She burned the shoes, but it was plastic, and yeah, exactly. So she burned his shoes, but this time when she did it, the bathtub, it was a new bathtub, and it had some plastic in it. Something melted, something burnt, and that's what happened. But this was like a routine thing that, you know, he would go out, he would do something, she would burn his shoes. Yeah, she this is a lesson to men. Don't date crazy women. Even if you're rich and even if she's hot, don't date crazy women. That's a non-football thing, but something very important since it looks like we're all men in here. I do have some female followers, and but I don't have a lot of them that chime in on my show on a regular basis. So this will be for the men. Don't date crazy women. Trust me on this one. But Andre Rison, one of my favorite all-time players. Yeah, we can go NFL history. We can talk 60s Packers, 70s Steelers. I have a list. Top 10. Yeah. Funk, what? No, if you date crazy, listen to her. My advice, Funk, is do not date crazy. There's 4 billion women in the world. Do not get something called one-itis. Do not get caught up on one girl. There's 4 billion in the world. So go out and get one that is not crazy. So, but yeah, I actually had a list, top 10 Super Bowl teams of all time. I think it's still up. If I took it down. I'm gonna revise it, kind of touch it up a little bit because I made it a couple of years ago and I want to change a few things. I think the top 5 will stay the same. These are some good names. These are some great names. Funk likes the crazy. I advise against it, man. I advise against it, brother, but each his own. Hey, man, I'm not a dating coach. I'm just a football junkie. 2 of my favorite players, Cliff Branch, is a shame he died before he made Pro Football Fame. How he is not in the Hall of Fame is an absolute joke. He is the number 1 player, as far as I'm concerned, who's not in the Hall of Fame that should be in the Hall of Fame. And I'm not talking about guys like, Peyton Manning and guys that, are going to get in right away. I'm not talking about that. But how Cliff Branch is not in the Hall of Fame is a absolute joke. Denver Gator has a great question, is what is your first genuine moment you became a fan? And if you're not familiar with the game, you need to, is the Miami Dolphins actually called this, there was a poll of the best game in the history of Dolphins, and they mentioned this game, and it was a loss. The Dolphins lost this game. The 81 playoff game between the Chargers and the Dolphins, it went into overtime. If you ever see NFL films where Kellen Winslow's being dragged off the field, it's that game. Dan Fouts told a story about how they were drinking Kool-Aid and salt or something like that before a game. And he said, yeah, I just had 3 or 4 beers like I would normally do. I mean, watch some Dan Fouts. Oh, God, I could watch Dan Fouts highlights all day long. But, I mean, here's a guy with a beer gut, had this Grizzly Adams beard, and just threw darts all over the field. It was fantastic. You have to realize technically not the first. It was the Coryell offense was actually developed in the mid 70s. He had actually some success with the Cardinals, but I kind of digress here a little bit, but yeah, that 81 playoff game. If you ever want to watch a good game, what happened is the Chargers jumped out to a 24-0. I think it was first quarter lead. I mean, Fouts just came out there, just ding, 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 ding. Kellen Winslow, I think, had 13 catches, 160 yards, blocked an extra point, blocked the field goal late. But yeah, and what the worst part is like 90 degrees plus that thick Miami humidity. And then the next week, the Chargers had to play an AFC Championship game in the coldest game in the history of the NFL. It's like negative 60 something. The NFL almost canceled that game just because it was cold. There was also like, when I say it was negative 60 something, it was like including the wind. It was just like crazy wind. Players from both sides said that they had all sorts of issues after the games with frostbite, and it was. You look up any, you can use Google, whatever site you want to use, coldest game of all time. It'll go to 81 AFC Championship game between the Chargers and Bengals. The game before that was maybe the greatest game of all time. And that after that game. So what happened is Chargers jumped out to a 24-0 lead. The Dolphins benched David Woodley, who led them to the Super Bowl. The following year. Yeah, because the Dolphins end up going to Super Bowl 17. So they benched him for Don Strock, who's a career backup quarterback. And he ended up, it was 24-17 right before half. And then he threw a pass to running back Tony Nathan. It was called the hook and ladder. So he caught the ball, lateraled it to one of the receivers who scored a touchdown right before half to make it 24-24. And people were just going nuts. Yeah, it was such a fun game. Joe Delaney, yeah. For those of you who don't know, Joe Delaney would have been a Hall of Fame caliber running back the second year. No, it was after his rookie season. There were some kids drowning and he couldn't swim, so he went and dove in, and he saved I think one of the boys' life, but he ended up dying in the process. Didn't know how to swim. One of the saddest stories, and the Chiefs have always honored Joe Delaney. Yeah. I actually remember watching him play, and oh god, he was so good. Only had that one season. It's a damn shame, or maybe it was two. But I actually remember Billy Sims. I pretended I was Billy Sims. He was so much fun to watch. Billy Sims. Oh god, if he could have stayed healthy. Yeah, Billy Sims was a lot of fun. Yeah. So yeah, it was Funk agrees here. Yeah, Billy Sims was so much fun to watch. It's kind of a damn shame. They were talking about Gale Sayers, who just passed away. Like how good, if you had today's technology, Billy Sims, he probably would have played for 10, 12 years. Then Gale Sayers, oh wow, oh he used to do that. Oh man, Billy Sims, man, could just jump, man. Oh god. For those of you who don't know who Billy Sims won the Heisman, I want to say in 78 or 79. It was kind of a weird time because USC just kept on having running back after running back after running back after running back. It started with O.J. Simpson, and then after, I'm gonna see if I get the timeline correct. Actually, no. Mike Garrett won the Heisman. Well, it was Mike Garrett, then O.J. Oh God, I'm forgetting the name of the running back. He won Heisman, then Billy Sims won Heisman. They went back and forth, and then I'm drawing a complete blank on the guy's name. Marcus Allen blocked for him, and then Marcus finally broke the 2,000-yard barrier. Nobody thought could get it done. Denver Gator asked, what's your favorite, everybody else's favorite NFL memory that made you a fan? Keep in mind, Denver Gator also, I remember going out to football games, showing my age. I actually used to watch the Baltimore Colts play. My dad swears they won a game, but I don't remember. I remember like 12 or 13 losses. And then we came to Kansas City. And before Marty Schottenheimer came between 85 and 89, it was great because you could walk right up to the ticket booth and like, hey, where do you want to sit today? And we sat everywhere. And then when Marty became head coach, we ended up having to get season tickets because we knew that Marty would just bring the same type of environment. The dog pound was all, well, it was little before Marty, but Marty really got the Browns fans into an absolute fury. And we knew the same type of thing would happen here in Kansas City. So, yeah, but before Marty Schottenheimer, you could just walk right up to the ticket booth and they would ask you, hey, where do you want to sit? And the ticket booths have been empty for they're empty during Chiefs games where it used to be you used to have to just go right up. You literally didn't even have to wait in line. I know Scott, I know you can't relate, but it used to be a point where you could just walk right up to the ticket booth and they would just say, where do you want to sit? And then you would go ahead and just pick where you want to sit. I mean, we sat everywhere. You sit on the lower level, we sit up on the upper level. So I read we're a 93 Bronco just sold for not the OJ. Wow. Little known fact. I read Jim Brown's autobiography and he sounds like it was one of the best books I ever read, but before O.J. Simpson had that incident, he wrote in his autobiography, he says, the world will never see that O.J. Simpson has a dark side to him. And then like a few months later, that I was like, oh my God, Jim Brown was right. So I was a safety. So sorry. My personal favorite moment was arguably the single best hit ever in the NFL. And it was the Atwater ended the nightmare. I want to argue with you, but you're right. It really did. And it didn't injure him. And by the way, if you watch that game, Okoye ran over Atwater several times in that game, but that hit will always, by the way, did you know they're friends, Atwater and Okoye, and they still joke around about that still to this day. So I thought that was kind of cool. Atwater is a really, really good player. Really good football player. And Christian Okoye, I think he still coaches high school football, still a football player. If you remember your Olympic history, remember Dave and Dan? I don't know if anybody remembers that, but there was a big promotion with two triathletes called Dave and Dan. Well, one of them ended up not qualifying, so it was a big deal, but they were on Christian Okoye's college football team, Azusa Pacific. It's NAIA, so it's so small. And so anyway, this guy, he was a linebacker, and then he had to tackle Christian Okoye, and he was like, screw this. I'm going to just focus on the decathlon and winning. Little weird history there, but it was kind of cool, though. James says, where I am in Michigan, I'm close to Colts fans in Indiana. We bash each other's team. Oh, okay, so you're on the Michigan-Indiana border. Okay, I that's interesting. I have a hard time because I don't remember the last time. I was gonna say I don't follow the Big Ten that much, but I have a hard time believing. I know Indiana last year had a decent team, but I don't think Indiana's beaten Michigan in a while. Yeah, exactly, Scott. Exactly. Denver Gator. I grew up in the 80s in St. Pete, Florida. I used to go to Bucks games for like $15. Yes, you remember the drill then. You remember the drill completely. Smiling Assassin versus the Nigerian Nightmare. I've never heard Atwater. I've never heard that nickname with Atwater. Atwater thumped everyone. Yeah, he did. If you remember, there was a big Reebok promotion with Dave and Dan because they were going to have two of them, but you have to qualify for each event. So what happened is, for some reason or another, he didn't qualify. He either I don't remember the situation specifically, but it was the pole vault. And like the first two, I think he just declined, and he was just going to do the bare minimum to qualify, which was a easy jump. And he ended up just not doing it. And it was Reebok spent a ton of money on the promotion, and then ended up not happening. These guys ended up not going. I think the one who went ended up winning the gold, but it was a big deal, because which one of these American decathletes were going to win the gold medal, and it turned out to be that one of them didn't even qualify for the Olympics. So forgive me if I don't remember all the details. It was the 80s, and I was a little kid, but if I'd say, without doing it myself, if you Google Dave and Dan 80s, you can see the commercials. They're actually kind of cool commercials. It was, Reebok was kind of up and coming at the time. So, and this was just, I think I want to say, I just watched The Last Dance, which is very good, even though I'm not a basketball fan, but it was like before like Nike was still coming up, but Converse was like the big basketball shoes still at the time. So Reebok was coming up, and so was Nike. But the Dave and Dan thing was really kind of cool. I remember it. It was about over 30 years ago. I still remember it. Okay, you're a Spartans fan. Okay, Spartans. Because I know the Colorado coach, and I don't remember his name. I know the Colorado coach took over at Michigan State, and then there was some talk about Eric Bieniemy, the Chiefs offensive coordinator, because he was a Colorado Buffalo. He was going to take over the Colorado job, but he wants an NFL coaching job, and he's going to get one. But I think I know it's I know they won the game against I don't know the nickname for it. I know it's not called the game, but the Michigan State Michigan rivalry. I really like it when both those guys really bang it out. One of my favorite, matter of fact, Le'Veon Bell, he was Spartan, but I don't know if you remember Theo Duckett. I think that was it. Theo Duckett. I don't know if you remember Theo Duckett, but I loved watching him. He was a really good Spartan. I don't know, but yeah. Well, okay. I'm going to start talking about Michigan State here, so I'm going to stop here. I know you said no, but you mean Bo. What kind of career do you think Bo Jackson would have had if not injured? And okay, this is where I become very unpopular, because I think Bo Jackson was easily Tico Duckett. Okay, my mistake, but you know who I'm talking about. Bo Jackson, in my opinion, was the most overrated football player that I can remember. Marcus Allen was the fullback. Marcus Allen blocked for him. Marcus Allen could catch. They used to take Bo Jackson out and put Marcus Allen in for 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. Bo Jackson, for some odd reason, couldn't catch a football to save his life. Football, even though he was a good enough player to be on SportsCenter, a good enough player to make all these highlight reels, and a good enough player to have a lot of numbers, you can't be a great player without a love for it. And Bo Jackson never really loved football. It was just something that he was a good enough athlete that he could do. If he loved football and put 100% into football, he would have had a good career, but he wasn't, believe it or not, despite the power and despite the highlights, he wasn't a very good tackle to tackle guy, despite being 230. So that's something that you got to think about. That's something you got to think about. And also having Marcus Allen as your fullback, I mean, if he loved football and he put 100% into it, he would be good. But I think that people think like he would have been the greatest of all time. The answer is no. There was a lot of things he couldn't do on the football field, but yeah, I mean, you have to understand something. He came in halfway through the season in great shape. He wasn't beat up, and yeah, he was going to have some good moments. But bottom line, he played 28, 30 games, and he was injured. A career-ending injury. So it kind of leads me to believe that if he played football full time, he wouldn't be able to last. He wouldn't have been able to be like a Jim Brown or I always said, because he played at the same time as Eric Dickerson, I always thought Eric Dickerson was hands down the better athletic running back. Now, I mean, people forget Eric Dickerson was about the same size, who had world class speed. A lot of people forget about it, but I've always believed Bo Jackson as a football player was highly overrated, but Mel Tucker, oh wow, Tico, yeah, I don't want to go on a college rant here. Music City guy, what is up, man? I forgot about Friday show. You know what? Yeah, the Friday show was kind of a new experiment during football season. I'm going to do Wednesday and Friday. I'll probably during the playoffs go back to one just on Wednesday. Man, it's great to see you here. How do you feel about the Texans? I hate to say this. I have a weird feeling I like Texans. I'm sorry. I think you get your first loss this year. What do you think? Excuse me. Yeah, Marcus Allen on 3rd and 4th and 1 was awesome. I loved Marcus Allen. Mike Bufa says Bo was superhuman in some ways, but he was more north-south, not shifty. You're right. And he was best used when you got him outside, but he was surprisingly not very good tackle to tackle. And that's why they used Marcus Allen on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. Bo Jackson was a lot more limited on the football field than people think. It's one of those things because of his super athleticism that he was just this great player. He really wasn't. He had problems catching the ball. He did fumble a lot. On short yardage situations, they took him out. So, but I mean, the highlight plays are as good as any highlight reel you'll ever see. Denver Gator, I thought the Boz was the best thing, but he's probably the most overrated. Actually, believe it or not, I read the Boz's. I used to hate them, and there was a ton of books at the dollar store, and I bought it just kind of as a goof. I thought maybe I'd just like rip it up or something. It's actually really good. His autobiography is really good. I actually, after reading it, I became a Brian Bosworth fan, and he'll be the first one to say, "Hey, man, I was a huge bust. I couldn't stay healthy. I was banged up, but if you want to see a really good college linebacker, watch Brian Bosworth." So yeah. Oh, dude, I have such a man crush on Eric Dickerson. Loved Eric Dickerson. Just watching him run was so much fun. If he would have stayed with the Rams, I mean, who knows what numbers he could have put up. I don't blame him for leaving, but he often said that, he had some good points. I mean, he was like I think when he broke the rushing record, he was like the 47th highest paid player in football. He was like the 5th or 6th highest paid player on the Rams. He's like, how's that fair? And he had a good point, and that's another thing is that they, he actually had a huge impact on the NFL and the way things are now. So, love Eric Dickerson. James Wilder. Oh God. James Wilder was a lot of fun. Yeah. He led, he had 406 carries, and that was an NFL record till, Larry Johnson broke it. Larry Johnson was a player I absolutely loved. But yeah, James Wilder, people won't forget him. Really good running back. You can call me Funk, says his favorite tandem, Bo and Marcus. Always thought it was funny. Yeah. Marcus, 25, 30 pounds lighter, but he's the 3rd and 1 guy. If you haven't watched Eric Dickerson, oh God, he had every single pad on the planet. He had the giant neck roll, the goggles, the giant thigh pads, knee pads, elbow pads, forearm pads, shoulder pads that belonged to like a 385-pound lineman. And he was the fastest guy on the football field with like 84 pounds of pads. It was just great. Bo Jackson athletically, you can debate who's a better athlete, Bo or Dion, and it just kind of depends. But the size speed ratio, I mean, Bo Jackson was 230 with almost world class speed. Depends on who you talk to. By the way, there's rumors he ran like a 4.0 540 or some ridiculous crap like that. No, that's simply not true. But he had, I think he did have like 4.3 speed. So I mean, yeah. Mel Gray was a great returner. I kind of forgot about Mel Gray, man. Oh yeah, really great returner. Him. They thought, what about you? Remember, you got to remember Billy White Shoes Johnson. Got to remember Billy White Shoes Johnson. Loved Billy White Shoes Johnson. Got Ernest Givens. My buddy used to play Techno Bowl. My buddy was Houston. At Haywood Jeffries would have like 400 yards every single play. Oh man, I'm gonna kind of forget about things here. Yeah, the neck roll, the goggles. One of my favorite 30 for 30 specials is Pony Excess, where it talks about SMU and how crooked that SMU franchise was. And to this day, Eric Dickerson denies getting a dime, but he probably took a pay cut to go into the NFL. But if you want to watch a good 30 for 30, watch Pony Excess. And wow, there's so many. I could go on for hours about that special, but yeah. Oh, the electric slide. That was my favorite. I used to do that all the time. I loved Ernest Givens. Was it Curtis Duncan, Ernest Givens, Haywood Jeffries? Who was the fourth one? But oh god, that team was so much fun. Warren Moon. It was. I'm on a few Facebook groups, and I don't pay attention because a lot of people just say stupid stuff. But for the last couple of days, there was like a Warren Moon thing. They just kept on talking about Warren Moon. Met Warren Moon, and easily one of the nicest guys I ever met. Super, super cool guy. Super cool guy. Love Warren Moon. But yeah, those Houston Oilers teams were so much fun, man. Those Houston Oilers teams are a lot of fun. And yeah, that run and shoot offense. I mean, we're kind of doing a little retro thing right now because it's just the way the content goes, and that's what it is. I love watching Warren. Are you talking about Chris Warren? Warren Sapp? If you're talking about Chris Warren, that's actually a great story. His son actually tried to walk on. Oh, Lorenzo. Okay, different guy here. Lorenzo White. Oh God, that's another name. Yeah. Oh, Warren Moon. Yeah. Warren Moon. Yeah, met Warren Moon. He finished up in Kansas City. He was 73 years old. No, he was like 45. Fun fact. Tony Gonzalez. By the way, Warren Moon said I think it was like the best hands was Chris Carter. Second best hands was Tony Gonzalez. This is while Tony was playing, but Tony Gonzalez had like a catch, and it was like 119 or 120, or it was some really big number. And Warren Moon had to play in a game, and Tony Gonzalez did not have a catch. It was like one of the longest streaks in NFL history. And then after that game, Tony had a catch in 180 or whatever. But the one game they didn't have a catch in was the one. It was Warren Moon's last start in the NFL. He just, it's like you wanted him to have a good game. He looked great. I mean, physically, even though he was like 46 or 45, and I mean, he looked like he could do it. But as soon as the ball left, it was like, oh my God. And it's funny because if you hear NFL players, sometimes they say it's a season. Sometimes it's a game. Sometimes it's a play. If you listen to Warren Sapp, he said that, I remember the exact play that I knew I had to retire from the NFL was that they were playing the Packers. He recognized the formation. He was going to get a sack. And he said, I'm just going to, it's one-on-one against a guard. And he said, the guard just stoned me. He goes, I knew to play. I knew to move. And 2 years ago, I would have got the sack on Favre, and I just didn't have it. But yeah, Moon knew instantly after that game. He just didn't have it. Not even to be a backup quarterback. It was sad, really. But yeah. Oh God, Warren Moon was so much fun. So much fun to watch throw the football. Warren Moon in today's game would be a superstar. I mean, he would be. Oh God, yeah. Let's stop talking about Warren Moon. But oh God, the Houston Oilers in the 90s would be such a fun team today. They would be such a fun team today. It would work so much better. The way the rules are, those receivers would get wide open every single play. And with the rules, as a matter of fact, side note, that's kind of like what the Houston Texans I thought were going to do. So, yeah, absolutely. Denver Gator says if Moon was starting in the NFL right away, he'd be leading a ton of passing records. Yes, you are 100% correct. Jim McMahon was fun to watch. Yes, I also loved Walter Payton, but I didn't see Walter Payton in his prime. I saw him in the later ends of his career, but the number one thing I loved about Walter Payton is watch The Hill, and people know Jerry Rice did The Hill also, but watch Walter Payton run The Hill. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, Mike. Yeah, the way the rules are, they would just destroy because the end arounds, the jet sweeps that are in today's game that weren't around back then. Haywood Jeffries would, God, he'd probably have like 5 pass interference calls against him. He was so good. A lot of people don't remember this, but I think it's still the second highest passing yardage game in NFL history was Warren Moon coming into Arrowhead against a really good Chiefs defense, threw for like 520 something. And when I met Warren Moon, I brought that up, but me and my dad go to Chiefs games together, and my sister wanted to go, so I said, okay, why don't you go to this game? And then Warren Moon lit this Chiefs defense, which was loaded with defensive talent, for over 520. And I was like, Beth, you're never going to a game again. So the next year, my dad traded our club level seats for 3 upper level seats so my sister could go. Yeah, but she loved it. I mean, so now it's like our family time. But anyway, Music City guy actually grew up in Arkansas. Everybody was Cowboys fans. I was an Oilers fan because of Moon. It's really weird because it's kind of funny how things like that work out. I used to work with a guy who grew up in Jersey, and they're all Giants fans. And because they're all Giants fans, he decided he was going to be a lone wolf and be a Cowboys fan. And this happened in the early 90s. So, of course, once he saw those Super Bowls and saw the dynasty, he stuck with the Cowboys. He's a diehard Cowboys fan, but unlike most Cowboys fans, he's capable of some logic. But yeah, the Houston Oilers were a lot of fun. I mean, you can go back to Love You Earl, Love You Blue. If you're that old, Earl Campbell was so much fun to watch. And then later on, those Houston Oilers teams, again, really, really fun to watch. And then, with the Texans, and of course, since we're going retro, I think, before 2000, but Eddie George, one of my all-time favorite players to watch. I loved Eddie George. That was a fun player. Mike says, I was at the Moon game where he lit up the Chiefs. JC Pearson. That's the game I'm talking about. Warren Moon. It's the second high. I think it's still the second highest passing yardage game in NFL history. I think what happened is JC Pearson had come in play, but that defense was loaded. I will argue this: Albert Lewis should be in the Pro Football Fame. Why he is not in the Pro Football Fame is beyond me. Very talented player. Very talented player. I have no idea. I start getting like this. You hear me sniffling. I start doing this, and I thought it was the coffee, but I'm drinking Dr. Pepper, and I'm still having that weird issue. So yeah, I love Albert Lewis, one of my all-time favorite players. Deron Cherry too. I remember going to Bill Moss football camp, and Deron Cherry was there. Deron Cherry's super cool guy. I don't think he is anymore, but he was part of the team that organized Jacksonville. So he was a part owner of Jacksonville. Little known fact about Deron. If you don't know, Deron Cherry's a guy who, if the Chiefs had a winning team, he would be in the Hall of Fame. One of the best safeties ever. Was a free agent punter. Was a punter out of Rutgers. I think it was Rutgers. I'm pretty sure it was Rutgers. So free agent punter comes to Kansas City, asked him to play some safety, just worked his way up to being a starter, had some really a Hall of Fame caliber player. But because the Chiefs were so bad in the 80s, he'll never get in the Hall of Fame. He wasn't part owner of the Jaguars, but I think he sold his share and had a bunch of other investments. Loved Deron Cherry. So look, hey, guys, I already warned you, and I apologize. I know some of you guys joined late. Music City guy, glad you're here. Not rebroadcasting this episode. You don't get to re-listen to this. So I apologize, but I'm coming out with a video tomorrow. I'm letting you guys know my pick of the week, Rams -3. I got the Rams 3 points. San Francisco 49ers are a bad team. The Rams are a really good team. I think the Rams could win by 10, 20, maybe even 30. It's going to be a blowout. I put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to have a video that comes out tomorrow. So make sure you go ahead, like the video, check it out. It'll be short. It'll probably be like around 5 minutes. So don't forget, go ahead and check that out. Hey, don't forget Wednesday, break down everything that goes on in the week of football, everything that's upgoing. Don't forget the Chiefs will play Monday if you're a Chiefs fan. And Le'Veon Bell, if you missed it, Le'Veon Bell is going to be used more as a wide receiver than a running back for this week. So for those of you that are on fantasy football, if you're in a PPR league, if you can grab Le'Veon Bell, I'd only expect 10 touches. So, hey, don't forget, you can always email me at thedanshow@yahoo.com. If you have any questions, go ahead and email me. And also all the links to my social media are available. Do not forget to follow me on social media. Normally, I just rebroadcast the show, talk football stuff. Very rarely I'll post something personal. So, Sam, hey, listen, man, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you enjoyed the show, man. If I haven't talked to you, I haven't seen you before. So, if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, I'm really glad you joined in. Hey, feel free to chime in. Hey, by the way, all questions are answered. Anything goes on the live stream. Not rebroadcasting this episode. Most of the time I do. I'm not doing it this time because I'm going to come out with video tomorrow. You guys get the information early. Take the Rams in 3. James, go Lions. I am going to pull for your Lions. And if I do put action on the game, you'll see the video tomorrow. So, hey, listen, everybody, have a great weekend. Enjoy. If you got any questions, don't forget, you can always email me at thedanshow@yahoo.com. Don't forget to follow me on social media, and I hope to see you all back on Wednesday. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday.